In the world of real estate, there's a rule we all think we know. The lower the price, the faster it sells. Pretty simple, right? Well, in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, that rule is being turned completely on its head. We're about to dive into a truly fascinating housing paradox. I mean, think about it. You'd expect the biggest bargains to just fly off the market. But what if they didn't? What if the homes with the most attractive price tags were actually the ones collecting dust? Because in Pine Bluff, that's exactly what's happening. So let's start by looking at the core of this contradiction. It really comes down to two key numbers that just don't seem to add up. Okay, get ready for this first number, $139,950. Now, for anyone used to big city housing prices, that looks like a typo. But it's not. That is the actual median list price for a home in Pine Bluff. Incredibly affordable. And to put that into perspective, the median price for the entire state of Arkansas is over $315 grand. So Pine Bluff isn't just a little cheaper, it's a massive bargain. You'd expect a feeding frenzy, right? Buyers lining up around the block? Well, not quite. And here's where the paradox really kicks into high gear. 91. That's the median number of days a home in Pine Bluff sits on the market. We're talking 3 full months. That's the real question, isn't it? If you can buy a house for a price that low, why is nobody biting? To understand what's really going on here, we have to play detective and start looking for more clues in the data. So let's dig a little deeper into the market data. We're going to treat each one of these dots like a piece of a puzzle we need to solve. This chart really just says it all, doesn't it? Look at that massive gap. Pine Bluff is nearly $300,000 cheaper than the national median. On paper, it's an undeniable, absolute steal. And yet, despite those rock-bottom prices, homes in Pine Bluff actually take longer to sell than in the rest of the state and across the nation. So the cheaper product moves slower. It just doesn't make sense. Yet. Okay, our next clue is a key real estate metric called months of supply. Now that sounds a little technical, but it's pretty simple. It just tells us how long it would take to sell every single home currently listed if no new homes came on the market. It's a great way to measure supply versus demand. And here we go. This is a critical clue. Pine Bluff has over 4 months of supply, which is way more than the state or the nation. This means there's a much bigger backlog of unsold homes compared to the number of active buyers. The demand simply isn't there to absorb all that supply. So we have low prices, slow sales, and way too much inventory. What does that actually feel like for the sellers on the ground? Well, let me throw another number at you, 34.4%. That number represents the portion of sellers who have had to lower their asking price. We're talking more than 1 in 3. Just think about that for a second. Even with starting prices that are already incredibly low, they're still too high to attract buyers. And this chart just shows that pressure in stark terms. You see that big slice for price cuts, right? But look at what's missing. Price increases? Zero. A flat zero. Not a single seller is even thinking about testing a higher price. It just confirms what all the data has been telling us. The pressure is entirely downwards. This signals really low seller confidence and a profound lack of any kind of buyer competition. So we have all our clues laid out: high inventory, long market times, and widespread price cuts. And when you put them all together, they point to one classic economic conclusion. And this is it. Pine Bluff is a textbook example of a buyer's market. The buyers hold all the cards. They have plenty of options, lots of time to choose, and a very, very good chance of negotiating an even lower price. Let's just run down the checklist one last time. High inventory? Check. Long time on the market? You bet. Check. Frequent price cuts? A big check. It all comes back to one thing: weak demand that just can't keep up with the supply. So, mystery solved. You know, this whole paradox teaches us a really crucial lesson. While price is obviously a huge factor in real estate, it isn't everything. There are deeper forces at play. These two lines tell the entire story. A massive price discount of over $175,000 compared to the rest of the state doesn't lead to a faster sale. It actually leads to a slower one. This proves that price alone is just not enough to create demand. And that leaves us with one final thought. The paradox in Pine Bluff shows us that a healthy housing market needs a lot more than just affordability. It needs jobs, it needs amenities, it needs a growing population, all the things that create real demand. So the next time you see a housing bargain that looks almost too good to be true, you might want to ask yourself, what's the real story behind that price tag?